PV92 proves out of America. PV92 is arguably the most important human ancestral marker. PV92 is a jumping gene, and jumping genes are widely used to detect the ancestrality of an individual or of whole populations. Because using jumping genes is so clear and relatively cost-effective, it is also the most used ancestrality detection method in many population researches, which are made for a wide variety of reasons, often related to diseases and trying to solve them. PV92 is most frequent amongst Amazon Amerinds, and its frequency goes down along the Austronesian Expansion route to the relative west and Africa, and along the Amazon River, which on occasions is an essential part of the Austronesian Expansion route. PV92 being most frequent in Amazon Amerinds indicates they are the origin of all humans and certainly of all modern humans. This so at least after the PV92 hybridization. This is clearly proven by the fact that all modern humans present PV92. No other ancestral marker is present amongst all modern humans, which is yet another secondary proof that the Amazon Amerinds are the origin of all modern humans. PV92 is the oldest detectable human jumping gene. It is also used to detect if some individual has Amerindian origin, out of America. PV92 frequency goes down in frequency along the Austronesian Expansion route when followed from the Americas westwards across the Pacific Ocean to Africa, and this means that the PV92 hybridized Amerinds spread or were spread along the Austronesian Expansion. For its clear importance, and for several of the above reasons, PV92 is also used in the education of geneticists and education in general, as well as in global population research, even when the studied populations are not at all exclusively Amerindian. Journal Nature claims Amerinds the first inhabitants of Polynesia. Nature is the world's leading multidisciplinary science journal. The journal Nature also illustrated the above, claiming that, or something short of that, the Amazon Amerinds were the first to populate Polynesia, which is just before Australia and Asia, when departing out of the Americas to the west across the Pacific Ocean. For consensus, linguistic evidence suggests that Western Polynesia was first settled some 3,000 years ago, by people of the Lapita culture. For us, this is not relevant in the light of the evidence of humans across the Austronesian Expansion, which includes Australia, already 50,000 or more years ago, which laid out the first or early genetic links with the Amazon Amerinds. All strong and relevant ancestral markers, other than PV92, further prove out of the Americas, but that is for a bit later. No migrations of ancestral markers out of Africa. Since there are no migrations of ancestral markers from Africa across the Austronesian Expansion area, it is proven that the oldest populations between Africa and the Americas did not come out of Africa. mtDNAL and Jebel Irhoud debunk out of Africa and support out of America. At this point, some could be confused about mtDNAL proving out of Africa, so at this point we point out and remember that mtDNAL was not in sub-Saharan Africa before 200,000 years ago. Nevertheless, it was already carried by Neanderthal when they diverged from humans 800,000 years ago. Though some studies suggest the divergence may have been as recent as 500,000 years ago. The also essential haplotypes are also not consulted. In importance for ancestrality, only haplotypes can somehow rival PV92 as the main ancestral marker. Haplotypes can be used as ancestral markers to trace genetic heritage. They represent a contiguous set of genes inherited together or in a block, and analyzing these patterns can reveal insights into an individual's ancestry and population history. Haplotypes are inherited as a block from parents, meaning they are passed down through generations relatively intact. This makes them valuable and very thrustful for tracing lines of descent. Haplotypes are linked together, and the patterns of this linkage can be used to infer the relationship between different populations. By comparing haplotypes across different populations, researchers can estimate the proportion of ancestry an individual carries from various ancestral groups. In essence, haplotypes act as genetic fingerprints that can reveal information about an individual's ancestral history, allowing us to trace the path of their genetic heritage through time and across population. mtDNAL trap. Haplotype B006 is a much stronger ancestral marker than that mtDNAL is. Further, haplotype B006 is the oldest human haplotype, this long before all African haplotypes, which never were early and never were important outside of Africa, or which further weakens out of Africa. This Neanderthal origin lies in the Americas, which is clearly proven by haplotype B006, which is a much stronger ancestral marker than the much later mtDNA-L. Still today the highest frequencies of Neanderthal and Denisovan lie in the Americas. The latest of migrations and population turnover events departed from the Americas because their haplogroup roots and cradles lie in the Americas, and also make up the latest haplotypes, with amongst them all the European haplotypes. Haplotypes being the whole genome. The Neanderthals carrying mtDNA-L and the origin of Neanderthal lying in the Americas proves that modern humans like us did exist much more than 200,000 years ago, which is about the limit for mitochondrial Eve. And consequently the wrongly supposed African Eve. That mitochondrial Eve should be African was never directly claimed by scientists, and not even by consensus. It was only supposed, probably because it suited out of Africa and consensus.